Hi everyone. So I wanted to do a very special video today talking about a very special product. So I'm going to give you a little backstory. Hopefully you have time for a little story time. I went to Dallas a few months ago at the end of April, and I went to the North Park Mall there, and I went to Neiman Marcus, and I purchased the Maestro foundation. Now, the shade is a little bit too dark for me. I thought I could make it work, but I couldn't. So I was in the, in the neighborhood to go, exchange it for a different color. Now, while I was in Dallas getting the foundation, the sales associate there, wonderful lady, showed me the Privé collection of the fragrances, the Armani Prive collection. Now, they are all extremely beautiful. They have this sort of display with a kind of almost a glass lid. I don't know what the actual term would be. It's like a crystal lid. You lift it up. You smell kind of inside the, like in Beauty of the Beast, that thing that covers up the rose. What is that called? A lid? There's probably some proper term for it. Excuse the lack of class. But you lift that up and you kind of give it a little whiff, and because there's a vent underneath, releasing that fragrance into the kind of the lid, if you will. So I had a smell on a few of them, and they were all extremely beautiful, very exotic smelling, very luxurious. But one in particular really caught my attention, and that is the Trabi. That's how Google Translate says it. She was nice enough to give me a vial of that, and also Cuir Noir, which also smells beautiful. But the Rose d'Arabie, I can't say it. The Rose d'Arabie, we'll call it that. I haven't gotten my French quite down. It really, really is beautiful. And it's an extremely expensive fragrance, extremely expensive. So I was contemplating it because I do have a lot of other fragrances that I love as well, but there was something about the Rose d'Arabie that I could not resist, and that just smells absolutely unlike anything I've ever smelled. So with extreme contemplation, and seriously, like, I'm crying after my trip to Neiman Marcus today, because the Privé fragrances, the full range, is only available at like 7 Neiman Marcuses worldwide, or excuse me, countrywide, nationwide. It was to my surprise when I went to go exchange my Maestro today for a color that works, that I saw the Privé fragrances. I have obtained the Rose d'Arabie. Now, let me show you the bottle, because it's the most beautiful thing you will ever see, the bottle. It's the most beautiful fragrance in the world, I think. To me, it's not quite as good as Tom Ford Black Orchid, but they're completely different, so, I can't compare them. So this is what the bottle looks like, and as you can see, they laser cut my name into the bottle to personalize it. So as you can see, there's a stone on top, a gold stone. It's quite a heavy bottle. It is a 3.4 fluid ounce of an Eau de Parfum Intense, I believe. Eau de Parfum Intense. Also, can we talk about the bag that it came in? I die. I die in the box. Beautiful. Beautifully done. Amazing. This is extremely long-lasting and extremely, extremely beautiful. This is something I think I'm going to treasure for the rest of my life and will last me an extremely long time. So as you can see, it's completely beautiful. The lid is metal or plastic. Plastic, I don't know. As you can see, beautiful gold. I don't want to spray it because it's so beautiful, but this is a rose. Apparently it is a rose from the Middle East. I'm not entirely sure where. Arabic rose, I think that would make sense. It's a very dry rose, but it is an an oily dry rose, if you could imagine. So when I smell this, I envision flowers that were left in the desert and were completely withered by sand and heat and a kind of a dry climate. But in that process, the oil from the roses and the fragrance from the roses was released, and that fragrance of a rose, kind of a spicy Middle Eastern, Arabic, if that's the proper terminology, rose, is released into the air combined with the desert heat and the sand and the dryness of the climate. So this has an incredibly beautiful, complex, but also simplified. I like this because it smells, you know, you see the rose jabi and you imagine an Arabic rose, and that's exactly what it smells like. It's not a complicated fragrance, but with that said, because the note that they concentrate on, that Arabic dry rose, is so naturally beautiful and complex and has layers of spice and warmth and dryness to it, the fragrance manages to smell a lot more complex than it actually is without having notes of vanilla, cinnamon, cardamom, bergamot, lavender, all of those things coming at you at once. It doesn't smell like a complex fragrance. It smells simply complex, if you can imagine that. If you are able to visit a Neiman Marcus in your area, and especially one that has these Armani Prive fragrances, I would really highly recommend it, because in the entire line, that's the thing, if I could afford to have one of each of the fragrances, I would absolutely do it in a heartbeat, because they're all extremely beautiful, wonderfully orchestrated, and just beautifully done. And I really feel like this is something that it feels very, very special to me, not only because I fucking paid an arm and a leg for it, and because the bottle's engraved, but because the feeling that the fragrance gives you is very special. And I think Armani did a wonderful job with these fragrances. Apparently he created this line of fragrances for himself and his family and his loved ones, and then they, you know, marketed it and sold it. So it has a very personal quality to it. They're not in every store in the nation, and they're, you know, not extremely common, and I don't know, I just think this is absolutely beautiful, and aesthetically it's a beautiful fragrance, and aesthetically it's beautiful. So I really can't explain to you how beautiful this fragrance is. It's something you really have to witness for yourself. But if you can, and I'm not a big fan of roses personally, I don't like that kind of floral, grassy vibe of roses. This is a very dry, spicy rose that manages not to sit in your sinuses. It kind of floats all over your body, if you understand what I'm talking about. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I really just want to share it with you because, you know, I'm very fortunate to be able to have this fragrance and to be able to afford this fragrance. You know, I did use like birthday money and birthday money I had left over on gift cards, and you know, it is an investment product, and I'm gonna guard this with my life. But it just feels so special to me. It's you know, I think a beautifully done fragrance and a beautiful bottle, and I'm very, very happy and fortunate that I have it, and I just really wanted to share it with you guys to, you know, share if you can get a whiff of it, I would really highly recommend it. So, yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and until my next video, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!